It's hit time for Laguna Seca, the world famous corkscrew turn, the kink, and all the beauty of the desert. This is a highly demanding track, not a lot of overtaking opportunities, so qualifying is potent, and not making mistakes is key, because if you fall to the back if it's on a spin, you're likely to kind of stay there for a while. And that is the joys of Mazda Laguna Seca, and it is Zero Racing's 9th round of the season. This is the Wednesday, race 1. Let's kick this off. On the pole, we have Jason Mons. P2, we have Michael Schneider in the McLaren 650S. We have Wesley Stokes 3rd. Alex Hayes 4th. 5th place for Mike Marks. 6th place for Rick Martel. 7th place for Dean Reimers. 8th place for Mike Magasiewicz. 9th for Laguna winner Mark Klabzel. And 10th for Dave Collins, who for some reason is not selectable. We'll see if that persists or if that goes away. Relatively short grid, 10 cars, guaranteed points for all. I really don't have anything else to say. Let's get on. See if Mons can retain the lead at the start. He's been pretty good at that, and showing his class from the front. Bit of a bad start, and Michael Schneider's up along the inside. Fantastic launch from the McLaren 650S, and he's well into lead. Wesley Stokes, Mike Mark are also coming up to the back of Jason Mons in the fight. And a really good start there by Mark Klabzel. He's in amongst still probably about the top 10 or so. Anyways, it is Schneider from Mons. And, Alex Hayes spins Stokes out. Mike Magasiewicz goes across the desert as well. Dave Collins gets clipped by Wesley Stokes' return to the track. It's carnage. And how is it settled out? Michael Schneider is in the lead from Jason Mons. Mike Mark, the other Zagato Piston car, is up to 3rd place ahead of Mark Klabzel. Fantastic start from him, up from 9th to 4th ahead of Alex Hayes. Hayes looking for a way around him. In 6th place is Dean Reimers. 7th for Rick Martel. 8th for Dave Collins. 9th for Mike Magasiewicz, who I think has gone off again. Wesley Stokes is at the back after being spun out by Alex Hayes, and we're heading into the world-famous corkscrew. This will be an 11-lap race. Schneider is in the lead, and I believe this is one of the tracks where the 650 can compete very well. It has great handling, great grip characteristics, and there's not a lot of straight lines that are going to highlight its weaknesses in a straight line. I think probably the weakest car here of the cars present is the M6 driven by Alex Hayes. I think it's a little clunky for such a tight track, but we will see. Speaking of which, Hayes has disappeared all the way back to, behind Dave Collins, and Mark Klabzel's also had some problems, so they have had contact at some point. Let's go back and see how that went. Perhaps at the corkscrew, maybe? Looks like we found roughly where it is. Let's see if Hayes is involved, or if this is... I'm going to say Hayes is involved in this. So Hayes had gotten in front of Klabzel heading into the corkscrew, and it looks like Klabzel hits him in the back. Sends them both out wide and into the dirty stuff, and then they just spin out. Dirty tires. So, probably fault to Klabzel on that one. He made the contact to the rear, but, I don't know. We didn't see enough to really make a call on that, but let's get rolling here after an eventful first lap. Michael Schneider. Fantastic start, has taken the lead from Jason Mons. He is leading from Mike Mark as well. So 2 Zagato Pistons on the podium. 4th place is now Rick Martel, through some misfortune to others, and a pass on Dean Reimers, who's now 5th. 6th place for Dave Collins, who started dead last. He's ahead of Alex Hayes in 7th. 8th place for Stokes. 9th place for Magasiewicz, and 10th place for Mark Klabzel. Not necessarily a bad place to be in last, because you will start first in race 2. 650 still in the lead here. Much lesser 650 component as Ben Boyer and Alan Angel did not make the trip to California for this round. Through the corkscrew we go. A little cutty there. A little cutty, a little bit of sand. Definitely do not want to go off track here. It is a dusty off track area being in the desert. Hayes and Stokes have gotten past Collins, and Magasevich is on his tail. Collins going off before the last corner. And Magasevich is going to dive up the inside and take the position. No Martin Lauer today as well, it should be mentioned. So John slowed down to just the one car, and that is Dave Collins. Collins getting the spot back against Magasevich. We're getting a little bit of a seesaw battle here for 8th place. Magasevich wide into turn 1 is going to allow Collins to scamper away a little bit. Or maybe not. He's got the switchback. Collins had problems. And Magasevich has got 8th place. Still in the lead, Mike Schneider. Pressured, but not overly so. I don't seem to be particularly scrapping. Much better through the corkscrew that time. Mike Mark largely on his own, unable to really keep with the top 2, but fairly ahead of Rick Martel and Dean Reimers, who are still squabbling over 4th place. Hayes and Stokes, I think, is probably the battle to watch. This battle for 6th place. Hayes has had some contact with some cars already, including Wesley Stokes at the start. So, a little bit of red mist may have descended here, and it could potentially get ugly. I could see Stokes forcing something just to get a little higher up. His championship hopes are really taking a beating right now, being held back in 7th. Good battles on for 4th and for 6th. The big BMW versus the smaller Lithur Z4 driven by Wesley Stokes. We'll be seeing a lot more of the M6s next season, thanks to the development done by Alex Hayes with this car. I believe Team MWL Racing Group will be adopting the car for next season's use, as we have a complete redo of the team format here in Zero Racing, and a lot of new entries are coming. Martel still hanging on against Dean Reimers. He got past him once, so one would think he would pull away a little bit, but it has not been the case. Reimers has kept with him. And Mark Klabzul catching on to the back of Dave Collins could end up with a battle for 9th place. Alex Hayes getting a little separation down the straight from Wesley Stokes. This M6 is stronger in a straight line than its prior BMW counterpart, the Z4. That being said, it is a car that it's going to struggle a little bit with the handling, and we'll see how that goes. A little bit of mistake in the corkscrew from Rick Martel, and a good dive bomb opportunistic move by Dean Reimers for 4th place. Also haven't really talked about the Academy much. Mike Schneider is the leading Academy driver right now from Dean Reimers and Alex Hayes. 4th is Mike Magasevich, and 5th is Dave Collins, who has lost 9th place to Mark Klapzool a little bit before the corkscrew, it looks like. .650S still holding lead of MMS Engineering. Mons deep in the slipstream of the leader. Wesley Stokes has gotten Alex Hayes at some point. We'll go back and take a look at that. That being for 6th place. Looks like he got alongside him at the end of lap 5. Really putting the pressure down the inside of the last turn, but thinks a little bit better of it. Hayes retains. Goes a little bit wide. Doesn't get a great run onto the start-finish straight, and this allows the Z4 to draft up behind him and into the inside for the first turn. And through he goes. Just a pretty simple move. Pressured him into a slight mistake and takes advantage. Mark Labzul gaining on 8th place. Mike Magasevich might have a battle before the end of the race for that position as well. Looks like things have settled for the moment, but we still have plenty of time left. This is lap 6 of 11, so we got 5 laps to go. Michael Schneider has led since taking the lead off a great start, and Jason Mons is not really aggressively pushed for a pass, I think, all race long. Been content more or less to sit behind the McLaren. Mike Mark having a lonely race in 3rd. And Rick Martel, who lost a spot after a mistake in the corkscrew, dropping to 5th, may have some company. His teammate Wesley Stokes is coming, and he's got Alex Hayes in that new BMW also gaining ground. Dave Collins into the pits, possibly for some new tires. Last place. Might as well make the risk, I suppose. Or it appears he may drive-through penalty, maybe just missed the turn, perhaps, and ended up in the pits. Interesting. Stokes has gotten Martel. Go back and have a look at that. That's for 5th place. So Wesley Stokes, after getting spun on lap 1, is picking his way back closer to the front, but I don't know if he's going to go much higher than the 5th place he's gotten so far. Looks like maybe just a teammate letting him by, to be honest. Rick Martel goes very wide and goes through the Team Shashma leader. Michael Schneider's got a pretty decent gap now en route to, I want to say, his first, what this would be his first victory in 0. Charging forward. Mike Mark's still in 3rd place. 4th place for Dean Reimers. 5th for Wesley Stokes. 6th for Rick Martel, 7th for Alex Haynes, 8th for Mike Magasevich, 9th for Mark Labzul, and 10th for Dave Collins. We're now on lap 8. Mons is closing up a little bit as he looks maybe push it a little bit more. Keep Schneider on his toes. This 2nd place does him quite fine because we do have an absent Genghis Khan, and Wesley Stokes is not particularly highly placed. Jason Mons really taking a stranglehold of this championship. Doesn't really need to risk it for the biscuit. And Alex Hayes starting to put the pressure on Rick Martel for 6th place. Trying to get that BMW M6 a little bit higher in the pecking order. A lot of pressure here from Stokes, trying to get that 4th place away from Dean Reimers, the Golden Bolt car. Martel appears to have fended off Hayes for now. Bit of a tight cut to the second part of the corkscrew. Oh, Reimers' mistake. He's off. And Stokes is through into 4th place. Brilliant recovery drive from the Team Shosper driver. Mike Mark is next on his list. Dave Collins dodging out of the way of the leaders. And Alex Hayes has gotten 6th place off of Martel. Looks like Rick makes a mistake here. Right on board with Alex Hayes. Yeah, just gets a little bit off into the dust, and Hayes takes the spot pretty easily, making his way through the grid, although never know what disciplinary action he may be looking at for his role on that lap 1 incident with Stokes, which put both of them kind of a little bit set back. And further complications with an incident with Mark Klabzul on the same lap. But he is in 6th place for now. 2 laps to go, and it looks like Jason Mons has turned the wick up a little bit on the pace. He is putting the pressure on Mike Schneider, or perhaps the McLaren has lost a little bit of tire grip and is starting to slip back into the clutches of the championship leader. Mike Mark, who's had a very lonely run to 3rd place so far, suddenly has a lot of company, because Wesley Stokes is coming, and Dean Reimers is coming as well with him. Schneider's still leading and has eased it out a little bit over Jason Mons heading into the final lap. Mike Mark is under significant pressure now from Wesley Stokes. This would be a fantastic recovery drive from Wesley Stokes, who was spun and sent to the back of the pack on lap 1 if he could get onto the podium. And just Mike Mark stands in his way at this point. 5th place Dean Reimers in the background there. Alex Hayes, Rick Martel, Mike Magasevich, Mark Klabzul, Dave Collins, they've kind of all settled for positions. It's really on, though, for 3rd place. I don't know if he's close enough to him in a 1-lap sprint, though, to really make this happen. But we're heading into the corkscrew. A lot of ground can be made up here. And you do have the lap car of Dave Collins ahead. That could play a role. Oh, Mark is way off at the corkscrew. Wesley Stokes is through into third place. A fantastic recovery drive for the Team Shashma driver. Amazing work. In the meantime, Michael Schneider has taken the victory from Jason Mons. Third place is going to go to Wesley Stokes. 10th place is going to go to Dave Collins, who's ahead of them in the lap car there. And the fight is on. Mike Mark suddenly could be dropped all the way back to 5th, but it looks like he's going to hold on against Dean Reimers for 4th position. 6th going to Alex Hayes. 7th to Rick Martel. 8th to Mike Magasevich. I'm not sure who's going to get 9th. Mark Klabzul went into the pits, and Dave Collins may actually have picked up the 9th place finish by finishing more laps than Klabzul. I don't know what the motivation for the Dutchman would be for a pit there. Mike Magasevich coming to Chrome as the last place man on the lead lap in 8th place. Fantastic action from Laguna Seca. We'll be back for race 2 later on, and then it'll be off to the Saturday series, and the season finale is at Sonoma, so we do not leave California for the remainder of the season.